But anyway, all right. So Bonnie, I'm going to share my screen because I want to launch right into Harry. Harry, I still have the pen that you gave me. Sorry, Harry just said that he took my workshop in Paisley and he gave me this adorable little Scottish pen. I can't believe it's not next to me. Anyway, I think of you often. All right, so we were going to go see Bonnie's Padlet with her work, and you'll still see the both of us. And if you happen to be new, I should start with this, to us, to Anne Kullberg and our website and all that, welcome. And we've been online since 1999 when I started a color pencil magazine. And it has just continued from then. I think I was just telling a color pencil chapter that I feel like I was born to not to draw with color pencil so much as to coach, like be a champion of colored pencil, because it's what makes me happiest is seeing more people love colored pencil, and whatever I can do to make that happen is sort of my mission. So that's me. And then Bonnie, we have Bonnie from the UK, from England. And, you know, you're here probably because you've seen her magnificent, incredible work. And we have a lot of her magnificent, incredible work here. And in fact, when we did our practice session yesterday, I clicked on this one and then thought, oh, that's the reference photo. And then realized, oh, no, that is your art. But we're not going to start with this one. Do you want to say anything to start with?
I just want to say how fantastic, you know, that you've invited me for this fabulous session, and how I just love what you're doing. I know that, you know, you've done one before with Jessie, and you're, you know, I think that one was so successful that you've decided to sort of keep on doing it. I think it's just such a fantastic concept because, you know, you can sort of get to ask questions and get into the minds of the artists that you're interviewing. And it's just, honestly, it's an absolute honor, you know, to have been asked by you. So thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, I've been drawing for, picked up colored pencils in 2016. And I started doing coloring books to begin with. And then somebody asked me to draw their dog, which I was terrified about. And I did it and put it onto Facebook. And then people started asking me, you know, to draw theirs, and it kind of sort of snowballed from there, really. So
Bonnie, did you do art before that, like of any kind?
No, I did art at school. So I left school in sort of school college in 1987, and that was the last time that I'd done any drawing. I did like drawing, and I was, you know, not bad at drawing at all, but not good enough to go and take it any further. So I just went straight into full-time work at 17 in an advertising agency, and then I've just sort of worked my way. I've been in advertising, marketing, studio manager, business coaching. You know, worked as sort of sales consultant and everything like that in art galleries. And then 2017, I became a full-time artist.
So it's like, that's the most incredible story, because you just didn't have any time. So what I'm guessing is, I'm going to look at this one while I talk to you, or we're going to look at this one while I ask you. What I'm guessing is that once you picked up that colored pencil, what was the first brand that you used?
The first brand that I used was W.H. Smith's, and I would not recommend it at all. They're very, W.H. Smith is sort of like a stationery shop in the UK, okay. And they make their own brand pencils. They're very, very hard, no pigment. And I got very frustrated very quickly, and then went on to buy a set of the Caran d'Ache Prismalo. And then I think once I kind of got a little bit into it, I then decided I was going to buy a full set. I saved up and bought a full set of the Faber-Castell polychromos, and I think I got some Prismacolor as well.
So you must have, like, okay, so you used those first ones and they were no good, but you knew that they were no good. And but when you got the next set, did you just feel like,
Oh goodness, it was like just completely different. The richness of the pigment, and I'd been kind of scratching away on my colouring book with these WH Smith ones, and then all of a sudden these new ones arrived, and I was like, oh my goodness, the colour and the vibrancy and they were fantastic, and that was it.
Did you also just feel like you just knew what to do with them? Like, I don't really understand how you went from 2015 or 16, or see, I've already forgotten when you started, but
yeah, well, I mean, my first attempt was not very good at all. I don't know whether it's on the Padlet, to be honest. I don't know whether I popped it up there, but my first attempt I was incredibly proud of. And I think, whenever we do pick up something like this, our first attempts, we are really, really proud of. No, I don't think it is there. That's a shame, actually.
Do you have can we at least look at an earlier one while we're talking about this, your beginnings?
These ones are all,
okay.
They're all sort of the last 3 years, really. Okay. These ones. Okay. I mean, I can find one that you can share. I can send it to you. I mean, can I get into the Padlet now to add it?
Yeah, you absolutely can.
Yeah, let me see if I can do that then. Let me see if I can get into the Padlet, and then
while you're doing that, I'll just click on a few more so we can see them larger. Everybody, oh my gosh, I mean, hello, what on earth?
Right, I'm just going to see.
Honey, I mean, they're just incredible.
Oh, that's really kind of you. Thank you.
You know why? You know why they're incredible? Because they're very, very realistic, but you don't overdo them. Like, you know when to quit.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you why. It's because I'm really lazy, Anne. That's why. I'm not a fiddler. I'm not a perfectionist. I start at the top, I get to the bottom, and I'm done. I'm not going back, and I'm not going to perfect anything. I'm done. I'm finished. And I think that's probably,
So can I ask you, do you feel like, so I don't work that way. I don't start at the top and go down to the bottom. I work all over the place. But once I feel like I'm done, it's almost a feeling like I'm tired of it, and I don't really care if it's not a winning piece. I'm done. I did it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not bored with it. I don't get bored with it. And what I have done over the year, over the years, what I have done is I've trained myself to enjoy every single part of it, because what was happening was I get to a point and I get all of I've just popped it up there. I don't know whether you can see that.
Oh, okay. Okay. An early one. Let's look at an early one. Oh, I think it might be. Oh my gosh, that was like one of your first ones.
That was my first one.
Honey, yeah. I could kiss you for showing us this. Oh my gosh. Because this is wow. No way.
I mean, I was so proud of this piece, I'd gone from doing colouring books, and then I decided I was going to draw this horse, and it was a horse that belonged at the stables where my horse was kept. And I think she was called Rosie. And I drew it, and I was so proud of it. And I posted it on Facebook, and people going, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Oh, Bronnie, this is brilliant. And this one girl who at the time I was like, well, I think that's really mean. She messaged me and she said, oh, this is brilliant. But what about just looking at a bit of bone structure and a bit of light and dark and everything? And I was so incensed. And I said, I don't want any of that. This is how I want to draw, and I'm really, really, really happy with it. And when you get critique that really hits home and they're absolutely on the ball and spot on, and she was absolutely correct. And I just have to thank that person, because I think if they hadn't have sort of angered me so much, I wouldn't then have gone, well, actually, she might be quite right. I might have to put a bit of bone structure in. I might have to put a bit of light dark in. And from there, then I started to sort of look at my reference photos a little bit more and go, oh, actually, I need to put some bone structure in. I need to look at the hair direction. And that's when I started to really, in fact, it was probably a matter of a month. And there was a huge jump from this one to the next one.
Can I just say that I have such a similar experience? I showed some work to Bette Borgeson, who wrote the first book on colored pencil called The Colored Pencil. And she had one comment, and it wasn't nicely said. She said, "You don't have all three values. You don't have a full range of values." And I wasn't incensed. I was hurt because I thought it was a really nice piece. And I went home and I thought, well, but I used black. I must have all three values.
Yeah.
And I had to think about it for months. But then at the whole time I was thinking, I'm like, finally, I realized what she meant. And it made a huge difference in my work.
Yeah.
Those comments can sting.
But they are, and this is I mean, that was, people critique your work anyway, whether you want it to or not. But I didn't actually ask for critique then until 2019, and I actually paid and invested in having a British coloured pencil artist critique my work, and it's one of the best investments I've ever made. And I think people.
Do you offer that service by any chance?
Yeah, I do, but I offer it within my teaching program.
Okay. Yeah. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. So there's that horse tell me again what year that was.
Say that again, sorry.
Tell me again what year this was.
That was 2019. Well, this one was 2016.
2016. And what was this one? Whoops.
Oh, that's 2018.
What? 2 years later?
Yeah, that's 2018. Yeah. Yeah. I can't tell you, Anne. I just became obsessed. I just was completely obsessed with these pencils. And, people sort of say, oh, it takes years and years and years. And, absolutely it does. But if you are so passionate and so absolutely obsessed with pencils and drawing, and I mean, I was drawing, which is crazy really, but I was drawing 10 to 12 hours a day, and in my absolute living my best life, I have to say. I really, really was, because I just loved it. And it was always, wanting to not wanting to make it look like a photograph as such. I mean, people are always going to say, oh, it looks like a photo. And that is a wonderful compliment. I always take what people say as a compliment. People say I'm talented and everything. I'm like, do you know what? That is such a lovely compliment. It really is. But I want them to look real. I want the fur to look real. I don't want pencil marks in there. I want it all to look just really real, like it can move and it could go off the, walk off the page. And and horses, animals, it's animals. I just love animals.
So which substrate is this on?
So this is pastel matte.
This is pastel matte. And now somebody I saw asked a question, do you use watercolor? But you don't use watercolor in your...
No, I really can't wield a paintbrush at all.
Me either.
I'm learning. I am learning, and I'm learning oil painting, but as a hobby, as something that I just want to sort of, just develop my own skills really. But I can't use I'm useless with a paintbrush.
I'm exactly
unless it's softening a little bit of hair on my colored pencil, but it's they're saying in there it's practice, and it absolutely is. With anything, it's all about the practice. But if you've got that passion for it and that overwhelming need to just draw and draw and draw. So this is a recent one. And this is from 2 different photos, which is really hard to work with. you know, so the dog on the left was quite a fuzzy photo. The dog on the right was a much sharper one, and I had to do quite a lot of editing on the one on the right because it had an awful lot of light. And I have to say, I was really worried about the dog on the right because I thought it just got a bit of a crazy face, and I thought it was just not work out at all. And actually, it worked really nicely. You know, it did work really nicely. Really enjoyed drawing those two.
So I mean, other than I do see that there's a portrait on here, we'll get to that, but and your first one was a horse, and so then do you think, I mean, is this what you've always wanted to draw, was animals, or did it just happen, or how is it that you do 99% animals?
Well, I think just because I have an absolute love of animals. I've always had animals. I've always had dogs. I've always had horses. So I kind of know them, you know, when you sort of know, and when I'm drawing, I can almost feel it sounds really weird, but I can always feel the features when I'm drawing them. So I feel if I've got something wrong, I can almost feel it on me, which sounds really weird. But, you know, I'm a very feely person. So I can feel everything through the pencil, you know, if there's a slight bump or any of the texture or anything like that. And that's one of the reasons why I don't use any pastels underneath my coloured pencil, because I can't bear the feel of I want to feel the pencil, either pencil on pencil or pencil on paper. I cannot bear the feel of pastel, and luckily it turns out I'm quite allergic to pastel as well, so I can't kind of breathe or speak when I'm near it. So, you know, there might be a bit of dog in the manger there, you know. I poo-poo pastels, but probably because I can't actually physically use them. But I really love that feel of the pencil on paper. It's just the most wonderful thing.
So it's interesting that it's kind of interesting because when we talked to Jesse, he was talking about how he was talking about sound, like pieces that are loud and pieces that are quiet, in a way that I've not heard an artist speak before. And I haven't heard an artist say they can feel it on themselves, like the features. I'm trying to relate to that, but I don't think I can. And I don't know if it's because I don't do animals or what, but I find that I think I might kind of know what you mean, but I can't like actually recreate that within myself. I find that fascinating.
Yeah.
So like what you're talking about this, well, I suppose what you mean is when it doesn't feel right, you fix it.
Yeah. You know, when you're sort of, you're maybe, a lot of it is if I'm freehanding something. I mean, I do use a projector to kind of trace my outline and everything down there because it is so much quicker. Right. But you know, I started off freehanding everything, and if I'm freehanding stuff, I can feel if I've got the eye just slightly in the wrong place, or if I've got the nostrils slightly in the wrong place, and I can almost feel it. If that makes sense. Very strange.
I think that I don't think this is your first life, Bonnie. I think this is your second life at least. And because anybody that can go from this horse to this horse in 2 years.
Yeah,
it's like uncanny. It's just like it's unbelievable. I believe you, but it's unbelievable. So before we go on, these are your three.
Oh, so yeah, these are my three amigos. So we've got this makes me laugh so much. We've got Slipper on the left. She's the black and white one. So she's the oldest. She's 4 this year. And Slipper came along at a very low point in my family's life because my husband left us in 2017. And actually, it was the best thing that could have happened. And, you know, it was fine. And we were all sort of happy after that. But Slipper came along as he left. So she sort of filled a gap. Well, more than filled a gap. She's the most amazing dog. She's Newfoundland cross standard poodle. So she's very big. I don't know in pounds, but she's nearly 50 kilos. So she's a big dog. And then we've got Vinny in the middle. Vinny is a Scottish deerhound. He doesn't abide by any rules at all. He just does whatever he pleases. He can let himself into every room of the house and steals toilet rolls. I don't know what he's doing with them, but he loves them. And then the one on the right, and this picture is just, this is just Nellie. This is Nellie. She is the happiest, funniest, the most hilarious dog. And she's Slipper's half sister. So she has the same mum, but a different dad. So she's a similar size to Slipper. And she's like this lovely chocolate color. And she loves cuddles, she loves kisses, she just loves to be squeezed. And, you know, whereas Slipper, she likes a cuddle, but only on her terms. And Vinny just, you know, normally laid on somebody's bed somewhere. And they're with me all of the time. You know, they're big dogs, but they're with me all of the time. In my studio, they appear in my videos. They're always snoring and wandering around, and you know, but they're brilliant company. They're lovely, lovely dogs.
So that's your threesome there. You haven't drawn them?
No, I've drawn. Yes, I have. I've drawn Vinny.
Okay.
I don't think I've got Vinny on there. Vinny's actually a full tutorial on YouTube. Yeah, you can draw him. I did a live draw along with him. And then I've drawn Nellie as a speed draw. So we did Nellie in like about 40 minutes or something. But I haven't drawn Slipper.
I think what we'll do is, you know what, before we're done, maybe I'll have you, well, I should have, this should have been on here. Maybe yeah. Well, if it's not on here, I'll have you put up a post with all of your, like the YouTube channel, or, you know, whatever those, those links that you want us to be able to go to. All right, so was this in progress, or you just had the pencil in there to show it's color pencil?
Just the pencil in there. So this one's on drafting film.
Oh, is this on drafting film?
Yeah. This one's on drafting film.
Did you do the background on the front or the back?
The background is on the front and the back, and the background is done with neopastels.
Really?
You know, yeah, the Caran d'Ache neopastels, which are they're the oily ones.
Right.
Yeah.
The background, and it doesn't smear on the drafting film?
Oh, well, so this is a funny story. So before I did this one, I did another one, a cat with a neopastel background, and I had this great idea, and I recorded it all, and I was like, right, we're going to do this background, it's going to be amazing. And I started to draw this background in, and it looked absolutely just looked dreadful. It was like a child's drawing crayons on the thing, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure about this. I was recording it all, and then I sort of smeared it with the paper stump, and I was like, oh, this is all right, this is okay. But then when I put my hands on it, it was all sticky and icky and gloopy, and I was like, oh no, I'm not sure whether this is going to work. And then for some reason I had some like kitchen roll in the studio, and I just thought, oh well, I'll just see what happens if I wipe it. So I wiped it all with the tissue, and I got rid of all of the gloopiness, and we ended up with a super smooth surface that was this beautiful, vibrant color. So that's what I did, and it worked really nicely.
That was on the front or the back of the film?
That was, I had red and blue on the front, and I put black on the back to really darken it up, and I used the same process, and it worked beautifully. This one, I put the colors in, and then I used a bit of a putty eraser, kneadable eraser, stuck on the end of a paper stump, and I just went round and just dabbed it all off to get the little bokeh bits in the background.
I like that you, I like your tools are so professional, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Kitchen roll, putty on the end of something else.
I know, that's me all over, and I'm very professional.
I love that, because you're not fussy, you know. I mean,
oh no,
I like that sort of thing. Like, well, let's try this, you know.
Yeah, I'll pick up anything.
Is the most brilliant background. I absolutely love that, and I've had very, very minor success on drafting film, but I might have to try that, just because that actually looks like fun.
Yeah, I really enjoy it, and once you kind of get, it's just like anything, isn't it? You know, you get used to your surface, and then when you move to another one, you think, oh God, this is horrible. I can't work on this at all. But once you get into it and you kind of, you know, you can use similar techniques, but you always have to tweak them. And with the drafting film, you know, I'm used to using pastel mats, so I can get lots of layers in. With the drafting film, you've got to kind of think before you put your colors in. You know, but it's a lovely surface to work on.
I mean, I did a sort of an abstract, and it was really fun because the colors are so vivid, you know. Now before we move on, what's the background? The pastel.
The pastel mat. Yeah.
No. On this one, the
Neo pastels.
Yeah, they're not considered a color pencil, right?
No, they're not.
Yeah.
So this is like mixed. This is mixed media.
Mixed media.
And yeah, I mean, I tend to. I'm just a pure color pencil artist, really. I tend to only use color pencil. I don't like using any mineral spirits or blending, anything like that. I just use my pencils.
I'm actually the same.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with using mineral spirits and stuff like that, but I just use my pencils.
Well, for one thing, if you use mineral spirits, you have to use a brush, and you know, we don't
want to do that.
We don't want to do that. So now this one looks really different to me. This one is not this doesn't look like Bonnie Snowden to me, whereas the rest do. What?
Yeah. So, well, I guess, so this is a recent one, and I guess because it's got a background in it, and quite a vibrant background, and I don't usually do backgrounds. And I just wanted to sort of show some different techniques and everything. So I used, with the polychromos white. The polychromos white is a really rubbish white. Unless you want to use it to resist anything going over the top, and then it's a really great white. So I used that in the ears.
Okay.
So we could get the hairs in first, and then we could get a little bit of depth and value and everything in there, and the hairs would still stay. So I wanted to bring that onto this piece, and then I wanted to do a background in pure pencil. So it's looking a little bit grainy, you know, on the screen, but the background is just polychromos.
And is this pastel matte too?
This is pastel matte, yeah.
Excuse me. So so you know what? It didn't even occur to me what the real difference mainly is that dark background, because I'm so used to seeing your work without, and with this horse, it's such a light background, you know, that it doesn't.
Exactly, yeah. So my work, if you look at the grey horse there, the one in the middle, that's a very recent one. And this is the sort of thing that I absolutely adore doing. And it's the soft, subtle, those lovely lost edges. You know, I only used greys on this piece. So there isn't any color on this piece. And usually I do use quite a lot of color in my pieces, but this one is just warm and cold greys. And I really like to mix the warm and the cool colors, because you get sort of like a silvery translucency color, and it's just, oh, you know. And this particular piece, they sent me a video of his owner opening him at Christmas, and I was sitting there watching it, and as she went, oh, I sat there going, oh, as I was watching her reactions, oh, it was the most lovely thing. It was just the most lovely thing. And she was crying, and I was crying. And but this, I would say this is one of my favorite pieces. I love drawing white on white. I absolutely love it. You know, and the soft subtlety of sort of like the body disappearing. That's something that I'm, you know, I think we're always striving to develop ourselves and everything. And this, again, I want the softness, the subtlety. I want the less is more. Yeah. You know, I want to put fewer strokes in, and it still to look real.
So this is similar, because
this one's got a lot of color in it. So this guy, and actually, you know, I did have some comments that, oh, the bridle looks a bit dark on the horse and everything, and you know, I would agree. I don't think for this kind of horse that bridle is a particularly attractive one. However, this is what the photograph looked like, and this is what they they wanted, this is what they commissioned. So you know, you kind of got to go with what the client wants and what they're paying for. But I love this one because of all of the color in the, you know, you've got that lovely bit of sunshine that's coming underneath the chin, and you've got the lovely bit of sunshine that's in the ears, you know, and then just everything sort of drifts off. And it's just, oh, I just love white on white.
You are in love with color pencil.
Oh gosh, honestly, they're just the best thing ever, aren't they, really?
It is what it's like, though, isn't it? I just want to say, because we're getting quite a few chat, and that's great. And when we do the recording, I believe the chat will be in there if everybody wants, you know, just to let you know that you can read the comments. At the end, I'll just give a quick run through these because I don't want them gone. And I love these comments. The less is more is, you know, somebody commented on the less is more, and I like that too. To me, it feels very Asian, very Japanese. And I like that too. This one I find really interesting. Oh, you know, this one just almost takes your breath away. There's something so
yeah, well, this is Paige. Okay, so and she's actually all wrapped up, ready to go next to me. So she's being picked up in 2 days to be posted. She's in a box and all wrapped up. But this is Paige, and I have to say, her owners, she died this year, and her owners had her from a puppy, and they sent me an SD card with all of the photos on. And I was sitting going through the photos, like, oh, I'll go through these photos and get prepared and find out. Well, I sat there and I was just, I think my son came in and went, Mum, what's the matter? And I just had tears rolling down my face, because we'd gone from Paige as a puppy through to Paige as an adolescent, through to Paige as sort of like a, you know, an adult dog. And we'd gone from sort of like a black dog all the way through to just graying. She got a sunken back, you know, she was a very old lady. And just all of these pictures all the way through, and it just broke my heart to see them. And her owners haven't seen this, so they haven't seen it. They didn't want to look at it, and they just wanted to wait until they got their package and opened it. And this particular pose, she was actually lying with her back legs out to the back, so sort of her back leg was sticking out of the top of her head. So I had to make a decision as to whether to put it in or not. And I decided, do you know what, I'm not going to put it in because it's going to look really weird. So we left that out. And actually, it's worked really nicely, I think.
So that's so interesting. I mean, because I when I said it takes your breath away, I was going to say there's something sad about it. And you know, when you started talking, I thought, oh, I know what she's going to say. He's passed on, or she. They are going to cry when they see this.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a bit worrying, isn't it? You know, when they don't look at, when you can't send them a picture of it, and you just think, oh gosh, maybe they're going to like it. But I'm sure they will. I'm sure. And I've had it all. It's not framed, but it's mounted, and I've done her long and thin. It looks really nice. Looks really nice.
Yeah, that's just absolutely amazing. I do want to talk about the elephant because it's like the only elephant. It's the elephant in the room. So can you tell us something about the elephant?
Oh gosh, so she is called Riva Highway, and she's the baby elephant at Chester Zoo in the UK. And a photographer called Otterley Wildlife allowed me to use this as a tutorial. And funnily enough, my cousin bought the finished piece, and I had it framed up, and it looked amazing. So it's big. So it was on a piece that was 70 by 50 centimeters. So it's quite big. And I felt I needed it to be relatively big because of all of the little details. But the brilliant thing about this is that, like I said before, I'm a very lazy person. So I don't cut corners, but if I can find a way of doing something where it's going to look like I've put loads of effort in when I actually haven't, then I'm really for that. So this is pastel matte again, and I used a lot of Pablos with this one because I really like the Pablos on the dark grey pastel matte because they're sort of velvety, you know, somebody's asking how long it took. I think it was about 16 hours, this one, which actually is not a huge amount of time really in the whole scheme of things. But when I was drawing her and recording it, I was talking about doing noughts and crosses, you know, because we've got a lot of those sort of crisscross lines in there.
Right.
So we were just drawing, let's get the texture in, let's get those lines in, and then we can kind of fill the bits in between, and it just worked really, really nicely, you know. So there wasn't a huge amount of effort in, you know, creating detail. We kind of color blocked everything, put all of the colors in, you know, got the values and everything in there, because the values, you know, are the most important part, and then we just slapped a bit of, you know, detail on the top. Brilliant. I loved it.
Yeah. I had to do 2 commissions a month for 15 years, and they were 16 by 20, which I know probably doesn't mean anything to you, but they were large. And I learned to just choose 2 or 3 details that would be easy to do, but still have that wow factor, and that the client would think I'd put a whole lot of work into it, even though it was only a few seconds, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is, I agree with you that is, if you're a color pencil artist, you have to like, you have to find those little, not shortcuts. It isn't a shortcut.
No, it's not. It's an illusion. It's about getting illusion of sitting there. And, you know, yes, I spend hours doing my drawings, and you spend hours doing your drawings, but we don't want to sit there and draw every single tiny detail, because that's just like, no, I don't want to do that. So, you know,
yeah, isn't that what you as the artist are supposed to do? Like, you're supposed to interpret, right? Like, say you look at a photo and you like figure out, I call it the system, but illusion is a really good word. I call it the system, to find the system that makes you believe that this is that, even though you haven't drawn that, you know?
Exactly. And this is, you know, where people go, gosh, you know, you put so much sort of effort into the details. And I'm like, well, actually, a lot of it came from just blocking in values and color, and then putting a few little, you know. The other thing that I've come to really understand in the last few years is that I don't need to put detail everywhere. Yeah. So there can be areas where there's not a huge amount of detail at all. You know, and that still has quite a nice effect. With a piece like this, the focus is kind of over the whole thing. But if you're on sort of like you know, an animal's face or something, you can have fur that, oh, this is Sarah.
Yeah, lovely. But this is what I mean about, you know, when to quit, you know, because you don't have every hair in there, because you don't need every hair in there. No, and that's it. And I get a little bit overwhelmed, you know. I think your brain can make, well, it does, your brain puts things together, you know. You just need to give it a little bit of, this is kind of what's going on, and then your brain goes, oh, I know what's going on, I'll sort it out, and I'll, you know. But this was done on drafting film as well. I love this one, and it was a really awful photo, blurry photo, but do you know what, I really like working from blurry photos because there's no detail there to draw, so I don't have to draw it in. So I can just concentrate on the values. If this is on drafting film, so do you have it backed with white? Yeah, so I'll put, what I'll do is I'll put something white and smooth underneath. I usually use like a Bristol, Strathmore Bristol or something like that, you know, a plate. So it's super very, very smooth, right? Yeah, underneath. And then when I have all my work matted before it goes to the client, and we usually put just mat board behind it, so it's archival, just sits behind it, and then we've got the window on the front, and it works really well. So I guess, I mean, I asked that, but well, I guess I should just say, do you have white on here, or is it just the white background? Yeah, so no, there'll be quite a lot of there's a lot of grays in there, and sort of yellowy colors, so there's some ochre colors in there, and what I do is I use the subtraction technique a lot. That really resonates with me. So I put the pigment in, and then to everybody's disgust, I take it all back out again. And people sit there going, hang on a second, I've just spent an hour putting all of that in, and you're now taking it all back out. So that's how I like, that's why I love
drafting film.
Yeah, because of, right.
Yeah, I can put that, it's called well, I call it the subtraction technique. So I put all of the pigment in, work up all of the values, and then you can see in the fur, I'll use like a Tombow, you know, little eraser or a slice tool or something like that, and I'll just bring out those lovely sort of, and that's, you can get really lovely soft, you know, highlights and stuff.
Right.
I see it as drawing in the highlights rather than erasing.
Are you familiar with Tracy Frane's work on drafting film? He does these amazing.
Oh, yes. He won the UK CPS exhibition.
Yeah, he does.
Oh,
It's all subtraction. It's
oh my goodness, it's
subtraction.
Amazing. Oh, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so let's see what, oh gosh, well, we haven't had a cat in a while. Well, we just had a cat, but oh my gosh, another.
Oh, okay, so so this one was on hot press paper, a Fabriano Artistico hot press, which is my worst nightmare when it comes to a paper. I really don't like it.
Why don't you?
Well, because I have to use quite a lot of hard pressure and it really gets to my joints. I think after doing this one, I had to have physio on my shoulder because I've used such hard pressure. I've got a very light hand, so I like to use really light pressure, and I find it really, really hard. You know, so this one, I used a lot of indenting on this one.
Oh yeah, okay,
indenting tool. So I used that on the whiskers. I used it on the sort of the guard hairs coming down the chest and onto the back. I've got quite a lot of strong color in this one as well.
Yeah,
you know, we've got sort of like dark blue going down the side, and we've got some purpley colors up at the top. I find cats really hard to draw, and actually my cats probably on my social media get the most likes and comments and everything. I find them really hard to draw, and I think it's because their fur tends to be quite puffed out and fluffy, and you can't really see what's underneath it. And I've got a cat, but I tend to be more sort of horse and dog. I kind of really understand horses and dogs and their, you know, their bone structure and everything. But I do really like this piece.
Oh, I did too. Was this are they all commissions?
No, so this one's a tutorial. Sarah was a commission. The grey horse was a commission. There's sort of like a mixture really of commissions. Okay. and yeah.
Is so how many commissions do you think you take in a year?
So I used to take 9 a month.
What?
When I was working 12 hours a day.
What?
Yeah. When I first started, I would take on, because that's all I did. You know, when I started as a full-time artist, all I did was draw all day, every day.
Well, I did. I mean, I worked 60 hours a week for 11 years, but I could only do 2 a month.
Yeah, well, that's all I did. Literally all I did. Obviously it was far too many, but the thing was, when I first started, you know, my pricing was really low. So to be able to pay my mortgage, I had to cram more in. Right. So I took your advice back in 2017 and did I can't remember whether it was Shine or
called Shine, and it's called Shine. I have to thank you because I'm always hearing from somebody who says Bonnie told me to take Shine. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, that has been the basis, I think, of the success of having prices that are actually worthy of, you know, I think we all start really low. So I started in 2016 at £40, you know, a portrait. And that, you know, when you just start out and people are going, oh gosh, can I have a portrait, blah, blah, £40. And I listened to your Shine in 2017 when I was full-time, and you were saying, right, you need to up your prices on a regular basis. When you've got 2 or 3 months, full books, get your prices up. And you know, the amount of people who have got, oh, I've got 2 years booked in, but I haven't upped my prices. And I'm like, so you've got 2 years with a low price. I know. So now started off at £40 in 2016. Now my smallest portrait is £800. And my next portrait slot is 2024.
Let me stop just a second for everybody. Shine is a program that you can download from my website. And although you're going to get an email at the end of this thanking you with some links to different things, there's not going to be a link to Shine. I didn't even think about it. But if you look under, I think, videos on our website at annculver.com, you'll find the Shine, and you can download it or watch it on Vimeo. So, yeah, I know it's just crazy. People don't,
Yeah.
and artists, why should they know how to sell?
Well, and this is the thing, Anne, and this is what is so brilliant about you, is that you're so entrepreneurial and everything, and you're willing to share your knowledge. And if people are willing to develop themselves and listen to people and then take that on board and do something with it, that you can then go on. So if anybody's thinking about doing it, don't think about it, just do it, because it is the most amazing advice.
Thank you. It's a little dated because my business was, back, really pre-internet. I would change some things a little bit now, but as far as pricing goes and contracts and dealing with customers, none of that has changed. So I want to ask you about this piece. Is this on drafting film?
That's drafting film. Yeah. So this is one of my tutorials and it's part of a course that I've created.
Okay.
And I've had so many people now gone through the course and they've drawn this, and I find teeth and mouths really, really complicated. They're really complicated. You've got to get the shadows and the structure. Every single piece that I've seen of this particular dog, regardless of what's going on with the hair, the teeth and the gums have been absolutely incredible, every single piece. And I don't know whether it's because maybe I took a little bit more time to explain, maybe because I find it quite tricky. But they've just been, blown away with people's work. That's on this.
So gratifying, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. And the black as well, getting that really, really dark on the drafting film it can be quite challenging. So I use the Derwent drawing, the big fat waxy black, because you can't really go light with it. It doesn't matter how light you are, it's still going to put quite a dark color in, and blues and everything as well.
So are these drafting film pieces faster than your
No, not really. They normally take around about the same time. So this one's probably, I think this is about 15 hours, this one.
So I find that interesting because the pastel mat has resistance, right? So each stroke actually takes a little bit longer, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but then you've got the additional, so you don't have any tooth on the drafting film, but then you can't blend anything, so you can't get it soft. So you've got to be really careful to get the softness. You have to make sure that you don't have too sharp a pencil, and your pressure is very, very even, otherwise you can get kind of patchiness. With the pastel mat, I've kind of sort of worked on my techniques, and the grey horse that we looked at before, parts of that are maybe 2 layers.
Oh wow.
And I'm if I can get away with 1 layer on something, I'm going to get away with it.
Wow. That's amazing to me that you could maybe even get away with 1 layer. Oh, I guess we should talk about this since this is behind you in the
oh yeah, so this one's drafting film too. So this is an armor leopard. Really enjoyed drawing this one. Really enjoyed it. The teeth, and this is another problem that we have as artists. I think the photographs are beautiful, but sometimes you get them where they're a little bit distorted. So things kind of come across as where they're not quite. Dogs have big noses, horses have big ears and whatever. And this particular one, the tooth at the front should really look bigger, and it's kind of in on the front there. It's correct to the photograph. And actually, I probably should have done a bit of tweaking on that and sort of changed it so it worked. That's by the by. But
why would you even tell anybody that? Nobody looked at that.
Oh. But yeah, enjoyed this one. So this was a mixture of luminance and polychromos, this one. And again, the slice tool and the Tombow. You know, the slice tool is wonderful. So in the ear, where you get all of that lovely sort of hair, you what I tend to do is, and this is actually a trick I got from Jason Morgan, the pastel artist. You blur your photograph. You put a bit of a blur on it, so you can't see any details at all. All you can see is value and color. You put your value and color in, just whack it in, and then bring your detail back, and then go in with your slice tool, particularly in the ear area, and just scratch all of the little hairs out. And then you go back in again and build the depth and sort of like the 3D-ness, and it works really, really well. But blurring your photo just gets away from you wanting to get into the detail straight away.
Wow, I wonder if that would work on a portrait. And speaking of portraits, where'd it go? Where's the portrait? Oh, here we go.
Oh, that one, yeah. It's not, it's a bit on the, yeah. So this is my first, well, apart from doing my portrait with you in
Tammy, our Tammy, right?
This is my first human, and I always vowed I was never going to do humans, because I was just like, yeah, just animals, it's just animals. But I absolutely loved this. I loved it. The texture of the hat I loved, her hair, just everything about it I really loved. There's elements I need to go darker, I need to be looking at my values in the skin, you know, but actually I like the translucency that I've got in the skin, you know, and I'm quite good at getting my darks dark, I think, you know, particularly it's not like the hat area and everything. I know that the skin needs a little bit of work, but I've really enjoyed it, really enjoyed this one.
The texture on that hat is amazing. Do you know how you did that? Like, I'm just like so intrigued.
Yeah, so how did I use polychromos again, and I think it must be probably about 5 or 6 layers, and it was just sort of color over color, and it was just little round circles, so we got that sort of felty look. And then I used a paper stump over the top to smooth it out, and then went back in again. The thing with the pastel matte is, with it having sort of like it's not a gritty surface, it's sort of like a velvety surface. And when you use the drier pencils like the polychromos and the Pablos, they're quite hard and dry, so the pigment just sort of sits on the top of the tube, so you can move it around. You know, whereas if you use something like a luminance or a Prisma, they're a little bit stickier, so they blend, but they don't move around as such. The polychromos become almost like dusty, you know, like powdery, and you can just move them about, and they're brilliant. They work really well.
Oh, I just love this section of the hat so much.
Yeah.
I just can't take my eyes off it because it's so beautiful. But wow, what a first portrait. That's like incredible. We are down to the time. I mean, we have really no time.
Look at that.
But I see that we have 3 questions. Let me see. We already did that one. When using your tutorials, and I use a tone pastel matte, and you use white, the Wiener pup, Wiener. I'm sure it's supposed to be Wiener.
Oh yeah.
But I use different colors to get the same effect. I'm struggling.
Right. Okay. Here we go. When using your tutorials, I use the tone pastel matte. Okay. So with the Weimaraner puppy, it was on white pastel matte, and I used an awful lot of lost edges. So it was quite a pale dog. So it was pale going into pale. So if you used a toned background, you're not going to get the same effect, because you're going to get sort of very light going into dark. But what you can do is you can then, on the darker areas of the dog, you can use the darker areas just to drift out a little bit. So it's not going to be the same, but it's still going to work really beautifully.
Okay. And then when working on drafting film, do you ever just put line drawing on cartridge paper and put behind the film and not trace?
Yeah, I do, Dorothy. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant because you can, I obviously have it attached so it doesn't move around. You just slide a piece of blank paper behind it, and then everyone thinks you're an amazing artist because you're doing everything completely freehand. No, I don't try and pull the wool over anybody's eyes, but it's really nice. You know, when you're getting sick of line art and you just think, oh, I wish I hadn't put that bit in, I wish I hadn't put that bit in, you can just slip a piece of paper under,
Right.
and it disappears, and then you can just do your own thing. You know, I like it like that. So yeah, it's a good way of doing it. And then you don't have to erase it or anything, and you have grubby marks and stuff.
When you're starting out, what pencils and paper would you recommend, please?
Well, I mean, I started with, I think I started with the Stonehenge, like a Stonehenge hot press in a pad.
Yeah.
And it had like very lightly toned.
Yeah. Stonehenge is just so forgiving, and it'll take so many layers, and you don't have to push real hard to get a decent amount of color. So yeah. I agree that I think as far as pencils go though, what would you suggest for a starter set?
Oh, what was that? Sorry.
What pencil brand would you recommend as a starter set?
I would really, I love polychromos. I mean, I know you're a Prisma, a Prisma girl.
I just have to say that's because there was only Prismacolor when I started, and I got to know them so well that now I think in Prismacolor. If I were starting today, I wouldn't be married to Prismacolor. It's just what was available, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, I tend to use polychromos because I like a harder pencil. It's just my preference. But you know, any of them, I think, you know.
I agree. Yeah, I don't think you can really go wrong with one of the top ones. I mean, Derwent has some beautiful ones too. So, all right. And then let me see. I do want to give you, let me see. Thank you. I'm sick of line art, says Dorothy. Yeah, well, you know, I don't know. I do want to say, because somebody said something about thank you so much, Bonnie. So very glad people don't think using a reference is cheating anymore. I mean, not only is a reference not cheating, tracing is not cheating. I have a class that I will be redoing again this April. It's a 90-minute class about tracing and different ways you can do it that are low tech and high tech and all of that kind of stuff. And I think it's a ridiculous suggestion to say that is cheating. Because what somebody said in one of my classes, which I thought was great, was, what if I gave my line drawing to my husband? Yeah. Asked him to draw this. He could not do it. I mean, you either have.
I know it's funny, isn't it? You know, that you're almost guaranteed a perfect outcome. I mean, I don't know how many times I've done a brilliant line drawing. I've got the line drawing down, and then I've gone completely wrong. I picked the wrong line. I mean, I did it yesterday. I picked completely the wrong line. I'm like, what's going on here?
I know. I can't agree with you more. All right, so Bonnie, listen, we have to talk about your Ignite. Tell us about Ignite.
Yes. So I've been on Patreon since 2019, which has been fantastic. But I wanted to create my own platform, my own teaching platform, because Patreon's brilliant, but it's not very user friendly. You know, the customer service and everything like that, so it's all down to Patreon rather than me. So I looked into creating my own platform. I've had the most fantastic consultant helping me, who's an expert in the website that I've used. I put a lot of time and effort and invested quite a bit of money into learning how to create something like this and run it. And I launched Ignite, which is part of my academy, in September. And it's been absolutely fantastic. So it's a closed membership. So it opens for a couple of weeks and then it closes, and then you can't get in again until it opens again. So it is actually open at the moment, and it closes on Friday.
Okay.
And then it won't open again until into April. But I've created so there's a membership. So all of my tutorials are in there. I run live streams. You know, I've got up to 3 live streams a week. I do critique sessions. So people send me their stuff and I critique their work for them. And I've also created a course. So there's a full, I think it's 40 hours, full course. And I've also created this little formula for success quiz. So you take the quiz and you answer the questions really honestly. And at the end, you get a report that says, you need to concentrate on this, you should concentrate on that, you should maybe do this, you know, it sounds like you know exactly what you're doing. Why don't you send some work in for a critique, that type of thing, so that people know where to start.
Oh, yeah.
So starting point.
Brilliant.
So
You're getting lots of comments here that Ignite is fantastic.
Oh,
Everybody
thank you
wants
so
to-
much.
So how would somebody get there?
So you would go via my website. So it's www.bonniesnowdenacademy.com. And it's there to join now.
That'll be really easy to find from there. And then is that the same thing here? I wonder. Oh, so that is
There we go, look.
Okay, so that's a link. I'm awesome. So in the
Yeah,
Padlet, that's a link. All right, so that is terrific. And then Ignite, how would I? Oh, click here to log in.
Oh, so if you go down a little bit, you can actually go onto the sales page, and you can learn more there. And it will take you it'll show you a little bit. If you click on that blue button, it'll actually show you a little bit about.
Is this what's around you?
Oh yeah, that's the fields in front of my house.
No way.
Yeah.
Funny, why didn't you invite me to your house when I was there?
Yeah, you should. But yeah, so it's but it's what's really lovely about, there's Nellie, look.
Yeah.
And what's really lovely about the membership is that it's the community side of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and it's everybody together, and everybody being really lovely and supporting, and you know, it's just the most lovely place to be, I have to say. You know, I'm all for trying to build students and anybody's confidence, really.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to build people's confidence so they believe in what they're doing, because I think if you believe you can do it, you can do anything. You know, you can do absolutely anything that you know, particularly with art. If you've got a passion and you believe you can do it, then you can do anything.
I think that's probably right. I don't know if I could actually ever do belly dancing. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I couldn't do like long jump or high jump, and I couldn't even run. So that side of things, I do think you have to be blessed with the right limbs.
And you know, I did just hear that it takes 10,000 hours to get to be brilliant at something. And so with you working nonstop those first 2 years, basically you put your 10,000 hours in just in a shorter span than most people do.
You know, and not everybody can do that. When I started drawing, I had a full-time job, so I was working 9 to 5. I've got 3 children, I've got a husband, I've got horses at the time as well. So I would come home, do all of the teas and all of that type of thing, and then I'd work into the night. I'd be there at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning drawing, because I absolutely loved it.
No, I know. I know exactly what you mean. Well, Harry, it was nice to see you again, and I'm so glad you all enjoyed it. We are basically on time, only 3 minutes over. I don't think that's too bad. If you all had half as much fun as I did, then I know this was a success. You're absolutely a delight, Bonnie, and
bless your heart. Thank you.
Talented and such a genius and such a great entrepreneur and a delight. That's like, you're one of a kind. So
you're so kind. Thank you.
And goodbye, everybody. You'll get an email thanking you with a few links, and then visit Bonnie. Obviously, it sounds like you want to get maybe Shine, and it sounds like you want to join Ignite, and we'll see you again.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anne. It's been really, really lovely.
Yeah, it's been a great afternoon.
I know.
Well, evening for you.
Well, it is evening.
Right.
Yeah.
I know you're going to get back to your pencils and your dogs. Thank you so much.
Thank you ever so much, Anne. All right. See you later. Bye.